About 1:30, we felt Boomer hop out of his bed and onto ours, which was immediately followed by the unmistakable sound of a dog having explosive diarrhea. Yeah. We have absolutely loved the Transamerica Trail. It has shown us amazingly beautiful places we didn't know existed, and it has tested us in ways that we did not expect. Yesterday, the Transamerica Trail pushed us to our limits, both mentally and physically. But at the same time, it showed us the most gorgeous mountain scenery we've ever experienced. We spent more than 8 hours driving and covered less than 30 miles total. Exhausted and in dire need of sleep, we set up camp and called it a day. But the Transamerica Trail was not yet done with us. We had one more surprise just around the corner, and despite all of our advanced planning, we definitely didn't see this one coming. This is where we begin. This is our story. This is the Transamerica Trail series. All right, well, we just got woke up at 1:30 in the morning to Boomer having a diarrhea all over the bedding in our tent. That's fantastic. The only thing that survived was the sheet. Problem is it's about 40 degrees outside, so we're really going to test the iCamper tonight. Its ability to keep the warmth in the bed. Thanks, Boomer.
Not in his bedding, but our bedding.
Yeah. Would have been a lot easier if he'd done it in his bed. He got out, got in the middle of our bedding.
Sleeping bag, blanket.
Well, guess we're going to be sleeping pretty close together tonight.
Yay.
It's a gorgeous morning. Tiffany and I are feeling so gorgeous. So that's the end of our blanket and sleeping bag. They were tainted and went out of the tent rapidly. 1:30 in the morning. It's a good thing nobody happened to be walking by at the time. And about 2:30 he jumped out of his bed again, and we were both jumping up to hurry up and grab him so that we could take him out. So yeah, from about 1:30 on we were sleeping with just a sheet and 40 some odd degree temperatures. He got up to go to the bathroom at 1:30, 2:30, and 4:30. Every time he'd jump out of the bed, we'd both sit up and grab him real quick so we could try to get him back out of the tent before he got rid of the sheet that we had to work with. 7 o'clock, boom, he's up again. At this point, we probably just need to get up and get going and start looking at our day. Now, yesterday, we ended the day by running into a roadblock. Came over the pass and were facing a 25-foot wall of snow, and we couldn't tell how far it went or even really where the road went. So at that point, we had to turn around and come back to Silverton. We've now come a little bit south of Silverton. We're probably 20 miles maybe north of Durango, and that's where we're going to head this morning. And probably stop at some place and try to find some new bedding, and then we're going to have to make some decisions because the way that the roads are in this area, there's not a real easy workaround. We don't want to have to be backtracking for hours, and right now that our options appear to be backtrack for hours or miss a chunk of the Transamerica Trail. So we're just going to have to look at that. And when we can get to where we have service and be able to get better information, then we'll have to call a shot on that. So we're here at Mesa Verde National Park, and this is a really amazing place. It's part of the Four Corners here in southwest Colorado. So our time in Colorado is coming to an end. We'll be here tonight. We're going to camp here at Mesa Verde, and then we'll have at least tomorrow, but we're going to be pushing into Utah very soon. Now, Boomer seems to be doing a little bit better. He's a little grumpy today. We probably are too for lack of sleep. But overall, he seems to be doing better. When we came out of camp this morning, we came straight down into Durango, Colorado, and we stopped at Walmart, got some new bedding. Then when we came over here to Mesa Verde, the first thing we did was go ahead and pick out our camp spot. We wanted to be able to come in and tour the park and see everything, but already know that we've got our campsite picked out and not have to worry about that. All right, guys, so we've been checking out all the stuff at Mesa Verde here today. Got done about 4:30, grabbed some dinner up at the lodge. Beautiful day, another great day of just spectacular imagery. I hope you guys are enjoying all of the stuff that we're seeing and all of the shots that we're bringing to you. Day after day, there's just more and more and more beautiful things to see in this country. We are so blessed. So we told you earlier about Boomer having his stomach issues, and he's evidently still having them. We pulled into the Mesa Verde campground, and trouble struck again for him, and he just destroyed the little bed that we had for him. That went into the dumpster. So we're going to have to stop somewhere along the way and get him a new one. But he seems to be feeling better, but he's not 100%. But he's happy to be sitting in Mom's lap. That's all he wants in life. Today is day 40 in this Transamerica Trail. We're here at the Mesa Verde campground and heading out this morning. Now, they have a pretty nice camping facility here. At the entrance, they've got a big camp office with a gift shop that has a diner. We're going to head up there. Today, they're doing a all-you-can-eat pancake breakfast, so I think we're going to start our day with that. That's not a bad way to start the day, right? So we're making our way out of Mesa Verde. We're almost back down and out the front of the park where we can get on the main state highway here. Well, we've reconnected with the Transamerica Trail, passing through a small town here, and stopped at the Dollar General so we could try to get a dog bed to replace the one that Boomer killed yesterday, and maybe get some trash bags. We've had a lot of cleanup with this little dog. So we're going to hopefully get through the rest of the Colorado tracks today and get over into Utah. And then we are just hard pressing to try to see how far we can get on this Transamerica Trail before we run out of time. We're really hoping that the pace picks up and we could get further along down the road. But I don't know, man. It's a little discouraging right now thinking that we'd come all this way and not get all the way to the coast. But we'll see what happens. Mixed emotions. Colorado has been a beautiful state. We've loved seeing all of it. Since we moved into Colorado, though, oh my gosh, our noses have just dried out. We live in an area with a very high humidity level. So anytime we come to Colorado, we know that's a deal. We bring moisturizer spray. Oh my gosh, we've just been burning through it for the last week trying to stay moisturized.
Hard nasal passages. Oh my God. And I think I could literally soak in a vat of lotion, and I would get out and still look like a California raisin. Oh my gosh, my skin is so dry. And
Yeah.
it's not for lack of trying to keep lotion on it. Things you don't think about when you're traveling across country. The different climates that you will have to encounter.
Yep.
And what that does to you physically.
Boomer's not real happy about his current bedding situation because we've got a trash bag inside of his bed, but we have to have some way of containing anything that comes out and something that can quickly be disposed of. Otherwise, we're going to be buying bedding and everything like on the daily. So
Because when he's got to go, he's got to go.
Yeah, he don't mess around and he gives you no warning. Less than a mile, and we will be crossing from Colorado into Utah. So as that happens, we're transitioning over into more of the farmland. We can see a bunch of cows right here, and we're getting ever closer to the mountains that are right out in front of us. We did not see the bighorn sheep while we were in Colorado, so we think we saw pretty much everything else. What we did see that we really didn't think that we would was the moose.
Or the mesas.
The mesas. All right, well, all of these mountains off in the distance are signs of things to come ahead of us. Albaho Mountains, heading that direction right now, but it won't be long before we turn, and we're going to be headed more north out here. Way off in the distance, you can see Mount Peel, and that's ultimately where the track's going to take us, and that's going to take us up into the area of Moab and Arches. Now, the drive as we approach Moab is another very beautiful drive. We're on this Utah track number 1. It's a 113-mile track. It's going to continue to just take us towards Mount Peel. That's the mountain that you'll see as we're approaching Moab. And the track's going to take us up and around the mountains there and then drop us off down into Moab. Once we get past Moab, that's where Utah track number 1 ends and Utah track number 2 will begin. In the meantime, we're in that desert plains type of environment with all the scrub and the brush and the mesas everywhere. An unexpected stop in the desert as Boomer again has his diarrhea continuing. That's a great thing to have happen in an enclosed environment like a car, but it is what it is. We had to stop and get him cleaned up and get his bed redone and get it all set up so we can continue on down the road. Try to get him to drink some more water and hopefully get his stomach to settle down, and I don't know. We've moved off of the main roads and onto the LaSalle forest roads, and now we're working our way up towards Peel Mountain. Now, we're going to be actually going through a pass up here that's called Geyser Pass, and that's going to take us back up to about 10,500 feet. Now, when we entered the forest here, it was about 7,500 feet. That means we're going to be climbing about 3,000 feet, and we can see that there is snow up at those higher elevations. So this is not a dinky pass by any stretch. This is a legitimate mountain pass through here, and we're going to be doing some climbing over the next few hours, it looks like. But it's still not going to be as high as some of the passes that we saw in Colorado that were up over 13,000 feet. You done? Yeah? All right, come on, let's go. Come on. Let's go. Oh. Boomer says he's got to go right now. We're letting him out. If he even hints like he's got to go. We don't need another one of those in the car. Yee! All right, guys. So we've been talking to some locals that have been coming down the mountain, and it looks like it's not currently passable. Evidently, there's sections of this mountain pass that are still covered in snow. It's an old TJ.
Nothing like getting ducked in the middle of nowhere.
All right, guys. Well, there's our confirmation. We're hearing that it is definitely closed up there, so we're gonna have to start our backtrack.
I'd just like to say thank God for old boy and his wife that are out here in their awesome little TJ that I'm sure he's had since, they came out. And for stopping to grab a duck in the middle of nowhere and saying, hey, if you're headed that way, you might think of something else because the pass is closed because of snow.
So we've had wind now for a solid week. We've not been able to fly the drone for a solid week because the winds have just been so crazy strong. Well, the workaround ended up bringing us into Moab earlier than what we expected, and that's great. It gives us a chance to do some things that we needed to do. We went ahead and got a hotel room. We can get some laundry done tonight, and it gives us some time this afternoon, so we are going to come in and explore Arches National Park. Now, that's something that we hadn't intended to do until later in the week, but hey, if you've got extra time at an Arches National Park, that's a good thing. So today we're going to try to go in, do the drive through all the way down to the back and all the way back up front. And then we're going to come back tomorrow and do some of the shorter hikes. Now we've got a problem because they will not let any dogs on any of the hikes. So Tiffany and I are going to have to look at that and figure out how we're going to do that. She'll probably go do one hike, maybe I'll do the other, while the other one sits in the car with the dog. These are the trade-offs that you have if you're going to travel with a pet. That's the decision we made in bringing him out here. We knew that there'd be challenges like this, but we wanted to bring him, and now that he's here, that's the type of deal that we're going to work with. Join us next time as we overland through the spectacular landscapes of Utah and see some of the most amazing imagery of the entire trip.